Okay, we're good.
We live?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Welcome,
welcome
everybody.
to Happy Heart Teachers live on Fridays. We are here to help you eliminate some overwhelm. Maybe not all of it, but maybe just like maybe like 5%. Would that be good? Let me just turn down the music. Thank you, JJ, for our theme song. We'll hear it a little bit more at the end of today. And hi, Ilana.
Hi, Jenny.
So Ilana and I are here, Happy Heart Teachers. Thanks for joining us, everyone who's there on Facebook or Zoom, or in the future watching this after we recorded it. And today we're just going to be talking with you a lot about imagining. And I want to kick off today with a quote from poet Lucille Clifton. Always been one of my favorite quotes, and it goes like this: "We cannot create what we can't imagine." So we're going to be doing some imagining, some envisioning, some tapping into what we really, what our ideal space to teach and work from is, what that looks like. And yeah, do you want to add anything, Ilana?
I have lots of things to add, but I think maybe we should just take a few deep breaths before I start rambling on.
Let's do that.
I'm going to close my eyes for just a moment. I invite you to join us wherever you are. And feeling your belly move as you breathe, relaxing your shoulders. Maybe hearing the sound of your breath just ever so gently. May this time together be helpful. May we imagine a school system and create something better than is already what's here. And may we rest knowing that just the effort of imagining is another step in the very complicated untanglement of the current reality that we are in. May this conversation be of benefit to all who are listening. So I was thinking a lot about this episode or this talk that we're about to think about. Okay, like, what do we want to create in our school systems? It's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of just like, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong and nothing's getting fixed and who's going to fix it and why hasn't the government fixed it yet, and you know, who's in charge, who is just even in charge. And sometimes when I do practices of imagining, I don't know about you, Jenny, but it actually brings up a lot of layers of other emotions. Like imagining can be like yearning, which is saying like, oh, I want something that isn't here. Like I have deep despair that we have so many school systems that are broken and that are stress factories, and where teachers are just, you know, being burnt out. I've been one of them. I feel like I got spit up and chewed out of the school system, and really my mental health and my nervous system and my wellness was at stake and is for many of us. And so sometimes when I drop into like the excitement of, okay, what could it be? Like if we fished our wish, like if we could have anything we want, and there's like a spa in the middle of your school and teachers get breaks, and you know, we're going to do an exercise in a second where we kind of like feel into, well, what would be our dream environment, and imagination and feeling into our dreams can feel really uplifting and exciting. And I just want to normalize that it can also feel like, well, that's never going to happen. Like our negative mind can really come up. And, I think to like Martin Luther King, and I often listen to some of his speeches, and he said in his very last speech, and this isn't a direct quote, so I so apologize if I botch it, but the intention behind his words was like, I might never see my dream realized, and he didn't, but he was a massive step and created a ripple effect that is continuing. His dream is continuing to be realized. And so, as we have this conversation today, like just thinking about what could be better than what is, it's already, we can feel like it's not enough and that's never going to happen, and all those layers.
Well, and it can even feel like a little dangerous to imagine, because then that's so closely followed by, but I can, the disappointment and the frustration of not having what you want. But one thing that Ilana and I had been reflecting on about this time that we're in is, and I know a lot of teachers are feeling this way too, that yeah, it's really hard to be teaching from home, but there are also some positive things about teaching from home, and that are very personal. Like we've said every week, everybody's individual landscape is really different in this time, depending on what you're dealing with at home, and in your own emotional life. But before we jump into this whole envisioning thing, I wanted to also share that 10 years ago, Ilana and I were teaching together at a school in Brooklyn, PS8, my home for 10 years. Hi, all PS8 teachers, I love you. And we did this project with third graders, and the prompt, the essential question that we worked on for a whole year with these kids was, what is your ideal environment where you can grow and thrive? And we put the question to these 8-year-olds, and we really suspected that it was going to be an amusement park and, like Ilana was saying, a spa in the middle of the room. We thought it was going to be all about the sort of exciting, amazing things. And in fact, it was not. In fact, across the board, 100 some kids, every single kid's ideal environment had 2 parts. It had the roller coaster, yes. It had the slide. It had all the fireman's pole and like all the things, right? But every single one of them, even our most active, outgoing kids, had a quiet place. They had, a country house, or they had a meadow, or they had like an oasis. They
Or
had
like a
some
little
kind of,
nest, like
yeah, a
where they
little
could
nest, a
sleep.
cozy, private area where they could retreat from the excitement. And we were just kind of blown away. I just remember thinking, wow, I mean, these kids they know what they need, and what we all need.
Mm-hmm. And one other little story I want to add in, to get us like a little bit excited about the imagining, and to help remind us and feel into possibility, because again, like imagining can feel really painful. Wishing for something can feel painful if it feels like there's no possibility, if it just feels like I'm just never going to get it. So I always love to share this story, which is a true story about the man who invented the radio. And forgive me because I forget his name, but he was put into an insane asylum. This is like however many hundreds of years ago, before this technology existed. He was like, I have an idea for a machine, and there's sound waves, and you're going to be able to like hear someone talking from a different place, even if they're not near you. Like, it didn't exist in their reality. And they literally were like, you're a crazy person. And he was put into an insane asylum. And in the insane asylum, he was like, you have to believe me. I'm not insane. Like, you need to let me out of here. And eventually he got out of the insane asylum and he invented the radio. And it's like, okay, let's take some time right now to invent our dream school system that is not currently here. And just thinking about it, and this is a conversation between me and Jenny, but we hope that this is going to ripple out into a conversation amongst, you know, your teacher friends. And, you know, rather than like just, oh, we're on the phone with our teacher friends, like, this isn't working and this isn't working and this isn't working, you know, feeling free to generate ideas of like, what would be epic, what would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's take this opportunity. If you want to grab a pencil and paper or something to take notes on, feel free to do that now. And Ilana and I were just thinking we have not done this in advance. We just sort of gave each other the prompt and we're sort of thinking about it for like 5 minutes. So we thought we would just throw some things out, starting with what is better right now because we're not at school. So like you're teaching from home now, you're working, but what's kind of good about this? And I'll start us off. Like, number one thing that occurred to me is my dog. My dog is with me all the time. And I can, you know, use him for comfort. I can play with him. I get him out for a walk. Like, just being able to interact with him is, so I think every classroom should have pets, and many do. But yeah,
Bring your dog to work with you,
bring
or
your
like
dog to work. And he's by no means a therapy dog, so he definitely could not come to work. But at the same time, it's just, we're fantasizing here, right? So dogs.
and again, also permission to like have an idea and it not be realistic or make
Right.
sense. Like, this is an exercise when we're doing brainstorming in general. And as art teachers, Jenny and I do a lot and lead a lot of brainstorms. Like, if we're trying to like get the idea just right, you know, it's pressure. And so as you're sitting at home brainstorming, we really want you to feel free. I think what we should do is like take 2 or 3 minutes of, maybe Jenny, you can play the song,
Oh yeah,
and
cool.
we can just be journaling. And your journal can be in written words. It could be doodles, like maybe you're making marks or lines. And we're just going to use our mindfulness time as an opportunity to think deeply about, you know, what are some things that you would love, like having your dog in your classroom. Or for me, I'll just throw in that, like, I really like that I don't have to wear like super professional clothes, and that I can be super comfortable in a, you know, in yoga pants. Like,
Yoga pants every day.
yeah, I like that, like, when I'm tired in between classes, I'm doing a lot of virtual teaching, and in between my classes, I lie down on my bed. And sometimes I take 10 minutes just to lie down. Like, wouldn't it be great if in the middle of your school day on your prep period, you could lie down? Maybe it's a certain number of classes that you would want to teach in a day. Like, maybe you regularly teach 7 periods in a day, and maybe you want to think on like, what's your ideal schedule? Um,
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
let's
it for
do
like
it.
a minute. Let's do like a minute of brainstorming. I'll put the song on and everybody just dive in and start thinking and imagining.
Letting go, breathing slow, hearts below, push to surface. Seems like treason, what's the reason? I'm always pleasing, what's the purpose?
Can't catch a break as I walk this thin line. Step and shake off for what we left her. Too much time to take in this journey. I always travel alone. Oh, letting go, breathing slow. Thoughts below, first to survive. Seems like treason. What's the reason? I'm always pleasing. What's the purpose? So that's about a minute. So finish up your thought, whatever you're jotting down right now, and I'd love to see some in the comments on Facebook Live. If anybody wants to pop some of their thoughts into the comments there, that would be awesome. Another one occurred to me while I was listening to JJ's song, which is, I have my guitar here all the time, and no one can hear me except for my son, who doesn't care. And so in between, like if I need to activate my voice, if I'm going to be teaching and I want to get my energy up, or usually if I want to get my energy up, I can just play my guitar. It's just right here on the wall. I don't have to like take it out of the case or go get it or anything.
I had some funny ideas come up, or maybe genius ideas. One was to have a room in the school designated as like the boom boom room, like the smash room, where like if you have either teacher or children who are having like a hard time, right, rather than like the whole you just have to push through kind of a thing, or like just put your feelings down because it's time to learn right now. Like there's actually a designated place in the school where you can punch pillows, or like, so it's a safe way to get out your anger. Maybe there's for teachers only. I don't know if this would be really safe for kids, but I had this idea of like teachers wearing like safety goggles, and there's like hammers, and it can be like smashed, literally smashed.
Oh my God. Yes, because, well, can I just jump on and add something to that? I'm renovating a space in my basement now. And so the other day I was doing intuitive working, which is this thing I've just learned, which is where you change what you're doing when you feel like it. And I was like, I really feel like going to the basement and busting up that bookcase that's down there that needs to come out. And in my logical mind was like, you know, you can wait and let the guys do that. The workers who are coming to help you could do that. And I was like, but I want to do it. And I literally did put on my goggles and I had a hammer and I went down there and I busted that thing up, and it felt so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's just so much like be still, be quiet, learn, be productive. And of course, we can't have chaos in our classrooms. Like we need children to be sitting and listening, and we need like focused learning time. But you know, there's just a need um for places to release emotion at school. Like, actually, this conversation could go all the way to corporate. Like, you know, your boss tells you something and you feel a wound come up. Maybe it's nothing to do with your boss. Like, I'm a really big believer in not saying like, oh, you know, blaming, but like seeing like when I get triggered, like what is this inside of me that's being triggered? And we're dynamic humans. Like it's not like your healing is happening at home in your yoga mat and it's separate. Like you bring your shit to work, And
Bring your shit to work day. It's every
yeah.
day.
And so how could we make it feasible that like um you could in a safe way tell your principal or your boss, um I need 2 minutes in the boom boom room, and then can we come back to this conversation? Rather than react and then a whole slew of events happen that you need to now recover from.
Yeah. And a thing that's related to that I was thinking too is I've been in classrooms where there were 2 and 3 teachers in the classroom, and I don't really ever want to teach alone. I'd always rather have a partner teacher, always. And I think it's just human, it's humane to have 2 people in the room because you're dealing with emotions, kids' emotions, our emotions. We have to process things. So just having 2 adults minimum in the classroom would definitely be in my fantasy.
I had that in my fantasy.
Did
I
you?
thought 3 teachers in every classroom. That way, if
Mm.
one needs a, like, I need a moment, there's a tag team sort of situation.
Yeah. Or if
Um,
one kid needs a moment, like if one kid needs one-on-one, and I mean, inclusion classrooms are set up this way for a reason, but goodness knows, every time I've been in an inclusion classroom, it's not just the kids with special needs who need a moment of one-on-one, it's all the kids. Everybody needs one-on-one.
mhm.
So to be able to have 3 would be great. One teacher could be in the boom boom room managing her emotions. One teacher could be doing one-on-one with a kid, and another
Boom
teacher's
boom
holding
room.
space for the whole class.
The boom boom room.
I, I,
I
I'm
have a
gonna.
dream. I have a
That is your dream.
no, but seriously, I have a dream where there's enough resources for for all of us, emotional resources. um I think just schools can very often get into this place of like, there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough people, there's not enough XYZ. And I really want to feel into like, what would it look like to have a school where there's enough time and there's enough help and there's enough resources and um,
And there's space for that emotional moment. Like one thing I was really thinking about is just what I love. One thing that I love about this moment in history that's happening now is that everything is DIY now. All the expectations have been taken down a little bit because we've universally acknowledged that this is hard and overwhelming. And so it's like people are posting, there's some freedom in what we're doing right now because everyone understands that nobody planned for this. And so no one's expected to be doing it perfectly or flawlessly. And I'm noticing this in all aspects of life right now. And I just think, wouldn't it be great if we all had that kind of space to make a mistake or be late or not do it perfectly? What if we all had that permission all the time? Like, oh, my shoulders just go down. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I want it to be like,
yeah, and I think there's like a myth of like, there's a lot of talk in the education sphere about grit. And, I believe in grit. First of all, I believe in working hard. I believe in determination. I believe that those are skills that can be taught to children and practiced and that are absolutely important. So, every conversation that we have, it's about the nuance. It's about the yes and it's about the balance. It's not like we want to turn our schools into these like chaotic free for all and make it so easy for teachers that nobody comes and works hard. I think there's a lot of fear around like, if you make it too easeful, then it won't be good. And that for it to be good, it needs to be hard.
That's such a damaging myth. I mean, that is such a damaging myth because that ignores all intrinsic motivation. And kids have intrinsic motivation; they can access that. But if we make all the motivation extrinsic, then they can't access that, and then everybody just gets really shut down.
And
And
same for teachers. You know, teachers are hardworking, caring, and yeah, then I've gotten burnt out, dudes out there. Like, I do not consider myself a lazy person, and I have gone all the way to the spectrum where like I'm tapped out. And so this conversation is really about teacher sustainability and student sustainability, and not just like how can we hyper produce the greatest, most excellence, worldwide perfect classroom. I think that that includes um,
space to mess up, space to grow, space to break down, space, all the spaces. It
yeah,
has to.
yeah. Well, I think we're getting close to a half hour here, so I think we should close with a little bit of breathing and relaxing and feeling what's present. So I'd be happy to lead it, or Jenny, if you feel called.
You can lead it. It's
Okay.
going to be quick. It's
Yeah.
2:29.
Yeah. We'll
We'll
just
go
do
over a little bit.
a minute or two. So I invite you to close your eyes wherever you are. Relax your shoulders. Relax your forehead. Relax your jaw. Separate the top teeth from the bottom teeth a little bit. Breathing in through the nose. We'll do a little box breath. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold our breath for 4, and then breathe out for 4. And you can use the count. You can count with me, or you can do it at your own rhythm. Starting with an exhale. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Take a few more rounds on your own. So allowing your breath to lengthen, slowing down time. Let your breath be even, whatever pace you choose. I invite you to bring your hands together in front of your heart. If that feels good for you, listening in, if something else would feel better. And you can repeat after me out loud in your rooms, wherever you are, or you can just listen. And if these words don't resonate, you can just let them wash over you and choose other words. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May we create a new and more beautiful world. And may any benefit that we received on this call, may it ripple out. May truth and nonviolence lead my way. And may all my actions stem from love. Thank you so much for being here and have those conversations and share with us your ideas and dream big. Get wild.
If you wait, let me read the quote again. We cannot create what we can't imagine. So imagine all the things so that you can try to create
And let them call you crazy.
Do
You know,
it.
you're about to invent a radio. And you might feel like, I don't have any power. I don't have any power to change the system. But our collective thoughts matter about what's possible. Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Ilana. Bye, everybody.